Welcome back to some new malicious compliance stories, where people complied to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Trolley Needed. In my local supermarket yesterday, it was a bit busier than usual. The baskets only section was queuing, but the trolley only section was quiet. So I walked to scan the 4 to 5 items I had in hand, as I didn't even have a basket. The lady attending abruptly tells me it's trolleys only and to move down to baskets. Now keep in mind that this has never been a problem before, and I see loads of trolleys in the basket area, and I didn't want to snake through the basket bit, but whatever. I turn out of the trolley area and what's sat there but an empty one with nobody around. I quickly put my items in it and turned around to look the attendant dead in the eye with a little smirk. It's not the biggest of friends, but I hate job swerves. The next story is called Bean Counters. I joined a new company at the start of this year, before working for them as a consultant. During my onboarding, I asked the hiring manager if I would be provided with a company cell phone, or be able to expense out my monthly cell phone bill. He looked into it, and HR told him this particular position is not eligible for a company cell phone, as it does not require after-hours support. This answer actually made sense. I don't get involved in day-to-day operations support in my role. They also literally never called me once during my whole tenure as a consultant after hours. So great. I don't want to work after hours. Up until last week, that policy was upheld, just like it had been during my time as a consultant. There was never a "we are trying to reach you yesterday" when I logged in the next day, or any emails asking for my help after hours. So I was loving it. I have no cell phone number listed in my email signature, nor on my internal company profile, because I don't have a company cell phone. I have a desk phone, but that's it. I talk with a lot of IT vendors in my role, and I don't need them calling my personal line. I also did not install Outlook on my personal phone or any company apps. So last week, a major update was applied to one of the platforms that fall under my purview. The actual maintenance is performed by an operations manager and their team. Things went smoothly in our test environment. I signed off, my boss signed off, so everything was ready, set and go. The major update goes in. Someone incorrectly performed a few steps, even though that same person performed them just fine in QA. Things started going wrong, horribly wrong. I was nowhere to be found. I wasn't responding to emails. I had no phone number listed anywhere. So they did the troubleshooting on their own. In hindsight, the fix was relatively simple, and I definitely would have been able to guide the team. The error wasn't even related to the update. They just went down a completely different path to resolve the issue, thinking the update was the root cause. It would have taken a few hours, but we would have fixed it. But in the moment, as things were going wrong, in panic and trying to recover from the incorrectly performed steps, they somehow wiped the database. The backup was corrupted in this process as well, and they couldn't use it to recover. They had to go pull tape backups, which are excruciatingly slow to recover from and a week old. Monday morning, I log into my laptop and I notice what is going on. I get on a call with the operations manager. The operations manager is level-headed. No blame is thrown. Great company, great culture. He asked what happened to me. I told him that I have no company cell phone. I asked for it and they said no. He just had to shake his head. Organizationally, he and I are at the same level. He just has a reporting structure and I do not. My boss and I got on a call for a debrief and he asked the same question. I gave the same answer. No company phone. He's the one who told me my position was ineligible for a company phone, as I was not required for after-hour support. All told, it took the team 5 days to recover everything. Rerun all the transactions that were lost from the source systems. Another 1.5 days for the business teams to validate that all was well and match up the numbers. My boss did ask me if I had a personal cell phone. I told him no. I do, but it's the principle of the whole thing. I deal with a lot of external vendors now. I don't need them bothering me on my personal line. He didn't question me further. So all in all, about 7 days of lost system access, productivity, operational reporting, inability to efficiently serve customers, inability to efficiently deploy frontline employees, etc, etc, etc. One of the business directors was still putting together the operational impact, but he figured it was easily 6 figures. All over $50 for a monthly cell phone bill, for a bunch of corporate employees who they might need to call once in a blue moon. The funny part is, a majority of IT is eligible for a cell phone, because they are required for after-hours support. I estimate maybe 60 of us across all of IT aren't eligible due to our roles. Bean counters. Gotta love them. I did give my personal number to the operations manager for future emergencies. At the end of the day, I don't want my team and friends to needlessly suffer if I can help. The last story is called Contract Lawyer. I started work in the 90s on the shop floor of a pipe making factory, but made a few friends in the office. One year, at our end of year breakup party, I overheard a story from a corporate lawyer who was retiring on the same day. Someone asked what his most memorable case was. This guy was grey. Grey hair, grey skin, grey clothing, grey manners. Nothing distinctive about him at all. In fact, at the annual company party, known for drinking, this guy was always sober. But not that night. He was a contracts lawyer. Never tried a case. Just proved contracts all day. As far as I know. We made pipe, plastic pipe, water supply, sewer, electrical and telecommunications duct. We were the second biggest in the market and would swap contracts with the biggest manufacturer, as we both bid on supplying the big players in the markets. In our jurisdiction, we had a government communications department, which got sold off and became Big Telco. Along with deregulations of the sector, we supplied green ducting for telecommunications to Big Telco. Lost the contract to the competition, gained it back, etc. Life went on. One day, a new international company entered our market and started undercutting Big Telco. Let's call them OK Telco. As things go, we lost the Big Telco contract, but picked up the OK Telco contract, which was bigger, as they had to establish an entire network from scratch. This is where Mr. Grey enters the story. He gets a "please attend" meeting invite from Big Telco, along with a select few from our company, probably about the upcoming renegotiation of contracts. When Mr. Grey walks into the room with his boss, they are sitting across the boardroom table are Mr. BS and several $5 a word flesh-eating attack lawyers. They ambush them with an injunction about using this screen, the standard telecommunication screen, for OK Telco pipes, and are ready to take them for everything, including the pension fund for daring to supply the competition. They had a strict contract on the table, which had to be signed then and there. If not, another lawyer standing by at the courthouse would have a judge sign an injunction against making any pipe at all, until the case was settled. Probably an empty threat, but even a 2-week break in production could kill our company. While lawyers cleared it with our judge to let us make other types of pipe, Mr. Grey looked over the contract and told the boss to sign, as they could tie us up in knots due to their huge size and budget. The contract just made it clear that this screen was the exclusive property of Big Telco and could only make it for Big Telco. We folded like a shirt and signed. Life went on with us making OK Telco a dead green pipe. A few months later, Mr. Grey went to a 20-year reunion from his law school. Guess who was there? Mr. BS, telling everyone about how great a lawyer he is, and how he can push anyone around due to how great he is. Definitely not due to his huge budget and army of small lawyers. Mr. Grey is angry. Mr. Grey bites his time and pours over the contract. A few years later, Big Telco had to have a name changed, due to how much bad press they have from shifty services and practices. Also, as a way to avoid debts under the old name, they change everything. Storefronts, letterheads, everything. They are now New Old Telco. Contracts come and go. The other big pipe company gets the contract from New Old Telco to make pipe. Mr. Grey strikes. The other pipe company and New Old Telco get served with cease and desist orders about making and using green pipe. The S-lawyer is puzzled and angry that this has happened. He calls Mr. Grey. Mr. Grey arranges a meeting and then hangs up on BS mid-thread. BS turns up with his lawyers to see just Mr. Grey in the boardroom. No ambush, no backup, just him. Mr. Gray lets him rant his spleen about how they are going to gut the company, and Mr. Gray will never work in law again. Then Mr. Gray takes out a packet of papers and a highlighter, makes a few strokes, then pushes it to the closest lawyer. They read what he had highlighted and screwed up their face. This was repeated as the papers were passed to the BS lawyer. Only our pipe co, in conjunction with Big Telco, can make and or use this green pipe exclusively, with no substitutes, parent or child companies, successors or blah blah blah. Since there were only 2 companies listed on the contract, they were the only 2 sets of people who could decide the fate of this green pipe. BS said that they could claim ownership of the pipe color, since they were in effect just a rebranded Big Telco. Mr. Gray pointed out that this admission would cause all their avoided debts to come home with interests, along with an admission of guilt in trying to pervert the course of justice. BS then claimed that they inherited the ownership. Mr. Gray cut him off with the no child company clause. BS went on for a while, being blocked by Mr. Gray at every turn. At the end, even his lowly lawyers were jumping in to shut him down, because he was exposing them to risk greater than any of them were willing to be a part of, especially since they had made the contract as airtight as they could to screw us. As they were leaving, Mr. Gray said 2 things. This was an unfair fight. All of you versus me. Next time bring more and smarter lawyers. And since we now effectively control the this green, here's a document making the color public domain. We don't want to screw the other pipe company. It's not their fault they have idiots for customers. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.